The first time I realized my marriage was ended, I was under a Jeep at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, covered in transmission fluid, and listening to my wife call me burden. Not to my face, mind you. Erica had always been too careful for that kind of direct confrontation. No, she was on speakerphone in the kitchen, just beyond the open garage door, talking to someone whose voice I didn't recognize. A man's voice. Smooth, confident, the kind of voice that belonged to someone who'd never changed his own oil. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm finally free of that burden, she said, and I heard her laugh. That particular laugh, the one she used to reserve for bad reality TV and her mother's fashion choices. The vacation thing was perfect. He actually believed me when I said we needed separate time to recharge. God, he's so pathetically eager to please. I lay there on the creeper, wrench in hand, staring up at the rusted undercarriage of my 2008 Jeep Wrangler. The fluorescent shop light buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows across the garage ceiling. My heart was doing something complicated in my chest. Not breaking, exactly. More like calcifying, turning to stone. "When do you leave for Cancun?" the man's voice asked. "Friday. I told Nick I was going with the girls from work." Another laugh. "He doesn't even know most of their names. He could care less about my career." I could have confronted her right then. Could have rolled out from under the Jeep, walked into that kitchen, and demanded answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the transmission fluid in my hair. Maybe it was the sudden, crystalline clarity that comes with absolute betrayal. Or maybe I just wanted to hear how deep this rabbit hole went. "What about the kid?" the man asked. "Liv? She's 16, Drew. She barely notices when I'm home anyway. And honestly, she likes you better than her father already." Drew. The name clicked into place like a bullet sliding into a chamber. Drew Morrison. My old high school rival. The guy who'd made my sophomore year hell, who'd gotten the football scholarship I'd wanted, who'd dated the girl I'd asked to prom before I could work up the nerve. And now, apparently, he was dating my wife. "Can't wait to have you all to myself," Drew said, his voice dropping into what I assumed he thought was a seductive register. It sounded like a bad commercial for men's cologne. No more sneaking around, no more pretending at those boring company events. Soon, Erica promised. Very soon. The call ended. I heard her footsteps crossing the kitchen tile, heading toward the stairs. Going up to our bedroom, the one I'd spent 3 weekends last summer repainting in the exact shade of gray she'd picked out from 40 nearly identical samples. "Elephant's breath," the paint can had said. Looking back, that should have been a sign. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close. Then I rolled out from under the Jeep, stood up, and looked at myself in the reflection of the chrome toolbox. 38 years old. Grease-stained t-shirt, thinning hair, calloused hands, the face of a man who'd spent his adult life building things, fixing things, trying to make things work. I picked up my phone and opened the calendar. Friday, 3 days away. 3 days to figure out what the hell I was going to do with this information. The garage suddenly felt too small, too hot despite the November chill seeping in through the open door. I walked outside into the cul-de-sac, breathing in the cold air, watching the condensation form with each exhale. Our neighborhood was the kind of place real estate agents called charming and established, which meant the houses were 50 years old and the American dream had long since packed up and moved to the suburbs. Mrs. Lunt's porch light flicked on across the street. Of course, the woman had a sixth sense for drama, like a bloodhound for human misery. I could see her silhouette in the window, probably already composing the text message she'd send to the neighborhood watch group. Saw Nick Carter outside at midnight, looked upset. Trouble in paradise? I gave her a wave, might as well feed the beast. Back inside, I locked the garage and headed upstairs. The house was silent except for the usual creaks and groans of old wood settling. I'd bought this place 12 years ago, back when Erica and I were still pretending to be in love, back when Liv was 4 and believed I could fix anything. It was a fixer-upper then, and despite my best efforts, it was still a fixer-upper now. The kitchen cabinets I'd promised to replace 5 years ago. The master bathroom that needed retiling. The deck that was one bad winter away from collapse. All those unfinished projects. I paused outside our bedroom door. Light showed underneath. Erica was probably in bed already, scrolling through her phone, planning her escape to Cancun with Drew, planning her new life without the burden dragging her down. I went to the guest room instead. The bed was made with military precision, Erica's doing, from back when she still cared about appearances. I lay down fully clothed, staring at the ceiling, and started making plans of my own. Wednesday morning arrived with the kind of gray, miserable drizzle that makes the Midwest feel like purgatory. I woke up at 6, showered, and went downstairs to find Erica already in the kitchen, dressed for work in one of those outfits that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment. Charcoal suit, silk blouse, heels that clicked against the tile like a countdown timer. "You slept in the guest room," she said, without looking up from her phone. "Didn't want to wake you. Was up late finishing the Jeep." That was it. No follow-up questions, no curiosity about what I'd been doing or why. Just that non-committal sound that meant she'd already checked out of this conversation, this marriage, this life. I poured coffee and watched her. Really watched her, maybe for the first time in months. She was beautiful. I'd never denied that. Tall, fit, with the kind of sharp features that photographed well. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail that made her look severe, professional, untouchable. When had she become untouchable? "What time's your flight Friday?" I asked. 2 p.m. Megan's picking me up at noon. She finally glanced at me, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Guilt? Anticipation? "You're still okay with this, right? The separate vacations?" I smiled. It felt like cracking ice. "Absolutely. I think it's exactly what we need." She relaxed visibly. "Good. Because I really need this, Nick. Work has been insane, and I just need to decompress with the girls. You understand?" "Completely." Liv shuffled in then, still in her pajamas, earbuds firmly in place. 16 years old and already fluent in the art of pretending her parents didn't exist. She grabbed a granola bar and a can of energy drink, breakfast of champions, and headed back toward the stairs. "Olivia," Erica called. "We talked about actual breakfast." Liv pulled out one earbud. "I'm not hungry." "You need proper nutrition. You have that chemistry test today." "It's fine, Mom. God." Both earbuds back in. Conversation over. Erica looked at me like I was supposed to back her up, enforce some kind of parental authority. I just shrugged and took another sip of coffee. Let her handle it. She was the one planning to abandon ship anyway. After they both left, Erica to her sleek tech office downtown, Liv to the high school 3 blocks away, I sat alone in the kitchen and pulled out my phone. Time to do some investigating. Erica's tablet was still on the counter where she'd left it, plugged in and charging. She'd always been careless with her devices, secure in the assumption that I was too technologically incompetent to snoop. Another way she'd underestimated me. I knew her passcode. It was Liv's birthday. She'd never changed it, probably never even thought I'd notice. The tablet opened to her email. Nothing interesting there, just work stuff and promotional garbage. But when I opened her messages, I hit the jackpot. The thread with Drew went back months. May, to be exact. 6 months of messages, starting professional and slowly sliding into something else entirely. Something that made my jaw clench and my hands shake. May 15th. Great presentation today. Drinks after work? June 3rd. Can't stop thinking about last night. July 22nd. Nick's working late again. Come over? August 10th. I've never felt this way before, like I'm finally alive. September 5th. We should tell him. I hate lying. September 6th. Not yet. I need to plan this right. He'll take it better if I have everything arranged first. I scrolled through months of betrayal, each message a small knife to the gut. Photos too, nothing explicit but intimate enough. Drew's arm around her shoulders at some company event. The two of them at a restaurant I'd never been to. A selfie in a hotel room, both of them flushed and happy. There was more. A shared calendar with blocked-off times labeled meeting or conference call that I knew damn well weren't work-related. A note document titled New Apartment Ideas with links to downtown lofts that cost 3 times our mortgage. And then I found the hotel receipt. She'd screenshotted it and sent it to Drew, probably for expense reimbursement or something. The Riverside Hotel, downtown, last Friday night. The same night she'd told me she was working late on a project deadline. I took photos of everything with my phone, screenshots of screenshots, evidence. Then I carefully closed all the apps and put the tablet back exactly where I'd found it. My hands were steadier now. The initial shock had worn off, replaced by something colder, something calculating. I called Coach Ray. "Carter?" he answered on the second ring. "You coming in today or what? You missed Monday and Tuesday." "I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said. "And Ray, I need to talk to you about something." Sounds serious. It is. Ray's boxing gym was a relic from another era, tucked between a pawn shop and a dollar store on the east side of town. The sign outside was faded, the windows were grimy, and the whole place smelled like sweat, leather, and liniment. It was perfect. I'd started coming here 6 months ago, right around the time Erica started pulling away. I'd told myself it was about fitness, about getting back in shape. But really, it was about having somewhere to go where I wasn't dead weight, where my hands, calloused and rough from years of construction work, were assets, not embarrassments. Ray was in his usual spot behind the counter, a grizzled 60-something with scar tissue around his eyes and hands like catcher's mitts. He'd fought professionally back in the 80s, had a decent record until a detached retina ended his career. Now he trained kids from the neighborhood and guys like me who needed somewhere to hit things. "You look like hell," he said when I walked in. "Feel worse." I dropped my gym bag on the counter. "Got time to talk?" He glanced around the gym. 2 kids were working the heavy bags in the corner. An older guy I didn't recognize was doing rope work. Nobody who needed immediate attention. "Office," Ray said, jerking his thumb toward the back. His office was barely bigger than a closet, crammed with filing cabinets, old fight posters, and a desk that had probably been salvaged from a dumpster. We sat down, and I told him everything. The overheard phone call, the messages, the hotel receipt, Drew Morrison's smug face in those photos. Ray listened without interrupting, his expression neutral. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair, which creaked ominously. "So, what do you want to do about it?" he asked. "I don't know. That's why I'm here." "You want to kick this Drew guy's ass?" "Because I can't recommend that, legally speaking, but I understand the impulse." I shook my head. "That's too easy, too quick, and it makes me the bad guy." Smart. Ray pulled open a desk drawer and extracted a bottle of whiskey and 2 paper cups. He poured 2 fingers in each and slid one across to me. "So you want revenge?" "I want justice." "Same thing, usually." He knocked back his whiskey in one swallow. "Here's what I learned in the ring. You don't win fights by being the strongest. You win by being smarter, by seeing the openings your opponent doesn't know they're giving you, by letting them tire themselves out while you conserve energy. And then, when they're vulnerable, you strike." Sounds like you've thought about this before. "Had a wife once. She didn't cheat, but she tried to take everything in the divorce. House, gym, everything I'd built." He smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. "She didn't get it, any of it, because I knew the rules better than she did, and I played the game better." "How?" patience, documentation, and making sure every move I made was legal and above board. Can't fight dirty if you want to win clean. I sipped the whiskey. It burned going down, but it was a good burn. Clarifying. She's leaving Friday for Cancun, with him, though she thinks I don't know that. And you're going to? I'm going to let her go, I said slowly, the plan forming as I spoke. I'm going to smile and wave and tell her to have a great time, and while she's gone, I'm going to make some changes. Ray grinned. Now you're thinking like a fighter. We spent the next hour strategizing. Ray had been through a divorce, knew the legal ins and outs. He gave me the name of his lawyer, a woman named Patricia Chen, who specialized in aggressive defense, as Ray put it. He also gave me some practical advice about finances, property, and documentation. Get everything in writing, he said. Every text, every email, every receipt. You need a paper trail that proves what she's been doing, and you need to protect your assets before she tries to clean you out. The house is in my name, I said. I bought it before we got married. Good. What about bank accounts? Joint checking and savings, but most of my business income goes into a separate account she doesn't touch. Close the joint accounts. Move everything to your personal account. Today. She'll notice. She's leaving for a week with her boyfriend. She's not paying attention to the bank account. And even if she does notice, so what? You're entitled to protect your own money. He had a point. I left the gym 2 hours later with a workout under my belt, a clearer head, and a plan. First stop, the bank. Second stop, Patricia Chen's office. Third stop, home, to start documenting everything. But first, I had one more thing to do. The Riverside Hotel was a boutique place downtown, all modern angles and expensive minimalism. The kind of place that charged $30 for a cocktail and called it artisanal. I parked across the street and watched the entrance for 20 minutes, feeling like a character in a bad detective movie. At 5:47 p.m. I saw them. Erica and Drew walking out of the lobby together. His hand was on the small of her back, that possessive gesture that made my teeth grind. She was laughing at something he'd said, her head tilted back, completely at ease. They looked like a couple. They looked happy. Drew's BMW was parked in the hotel lot, sleek and black, and probably worth more than I made in a year. I watched them get in, watched him lean over to kiss her before starting the engine. Then I watched them drive away. I sat there for another 10 minutes, letting the anger settle into something more useful. Then I got out of my truck, walked across the street, and approached Drew's reserved parking spot. The hotel had one of those systems where regular guests got assigned spaces. His had a little placard, reserved for Drew Morrison. Of course it did. I pulled out my keys. The sharpest one was for my old padlock back at the gym. I'd been meaning to replace it. I didn't slash his tires. That would have been too obvious, too criminal. Instead, I carved a single word into the hood of his BMW, right above the logo. Homewrecker. The metal squealed under the key. It took longer than I expected, and my hand cramped by the time I finished. But when I stepped back to admire my work, I felt something close to satisfaction. Then, I pulled out a piece of paper I'd prepared earlier and tucked it under his windshield wiper. She's still married. Just thought you should remember that. A concerned citizen. Petty? Absolutely. Satisfying? You have no idea. I was back in my truck and gone before anyone noticed. As I drove home, I called Patricia Chen and made an appointment for tomorrow morning. Then I called my bank and scheduled a meeting to restructure my accounts. Then I called my sister, Jen. Nick? She answered on the first ring, sounding worried. What's wrong? Jen was 2 years older than me, lived 3 states away, and had always been able to read me like a book. We'd been close as kids, less so as adults, but she was still the first person I wanted to call when things went sideways. Erica's cheating on me, I said flatly. Silence. Then, that witch. Despite everything, I laughed. Yeah. Tell me everything. I did. By the time I finished, I was pulling into my driveway. The house was dark. Liv was at a friend's place. Erica was probably still with Drew somewhere. "So what's the plan?" Jen asked. "I'm going to let her go to Cancun, and while she's gone, I'm going to change the locks, move her stuff to storage, and close our joint accounts." "That's cold, Nick." She called me burden. "Then it's not cold enough. What else?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, you're thinking too small. She humiliated you. She's been lying to you for months. She brought your high school bully into your marriage. You need to think bigger." "I'm open to suggestions." Jen was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You know what Erica hates more than anything? Being embarrassed. She's all about appearances, about looking perfect. So take that away from her. Make sure everyone knows what she did. I'm not going to blast her on social media like some kind of psycho. You don't have to. Small towns run on gossip. You just need to plant the right seeds with the right people." "Mrs. Lunt," I said slowly. "Who?" "My neighbor, the biggest gossip in the neighborhood. She's probably already suspicious. I just need to give her something to work with." "There you go. Strategic information warfare. I'm proud of you, little brother." We talked for another hour, Jen helping me refine the plan. By the time we hung up, I had a clearer picture of how this was going to play out. Friday came faster than I expected. I woke up Friday morning to find Erica already packing. Her suitcase was open on the bed, filled with bikinis and sundresses and all the clothes she'd been buying over the past few months. New clothes. Clothes I'd never seen her wear around me. "Need any help?" I asked from the doorway. She jumped slightly. "God, Nick, you scared me." "Sorry." I wasn't. "No, I'm fine. Megan will be here soon." She glanced at me, and I saw something that might have been guilt flicker across her face. "You're sure you're okay with this?" "Absolutely. You deserve a break. You've been working so hard." The guilt vanished, replaced by relief. "Thanks for understanding. I know it's unconventional, but I really think this will be good for us. Time apart to reset." "I agree completely. In fact, I think we should make this a regular thing. Separate vacations, separate interests, maybe even separate living spaces eventually." She froze, a sundress halfway into the suitcase. "What do you mean?" "Just that we've been living in each other's pockets for so long. Maybe we need more independence, more space to be ourselves." I could see her processing this, trying to figure out if I knew something or if I was just being my usual oblivious self. She decided on the latter. "That's very mature of you," she said carefully. "I'm trying to grow as a person." Megan's car honked outside at exactly noon. Erica zipped up her suitcase, checked her appearance in the mirror one last time, and headed for the stairs. I followed, carrying her suitcase like a dutiful husband. Megan was waiting in her Lexus, windows down, sunglasses on. She waved when she saw me. "Have fun, you two," I called out. "We will," Erica said. She hesitated, then gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. "See you in a week." "Can't wait." I watched them drive away, Megan already talking animatedly about something, Erica laughing. As soon as they turned the corner, I pulled out my phone and started making calls. First call, the locksmith. "How fast can you get here?" Second call, Patricia Chen. "She's gone. I'm ready to move forward." Third call, the storage facility. "I need a unit. Today." Fourth call, my business partner, Mike. "I need help moving some furniture." By 6 p.m., the house was transformed. New locks on all the doors. Erica's clothes, shoes, and personal items packed into boxes and moved to a storage unit across town. Her vision boards taken down, her stupid decorative pillows gone. The bedroom repainted, not elephant's breath, but a deep navy blue I'd always wanted. Mike stood in the living room, surveying our work. "Man, you're really doing this." "I'm really doing this." "She's going to lose her mind when she gets back." "That's the idea." He shook his head, grinning. "Remind me never to piss you off." That night, I slept in the master bedroom for the first time in weeks. The new paint smell was strong, but I didn't mind. It smelled like a fresh start. Saturday morning, I went to the gym. Ray took one look at me and nodded approvingly. You did it. Phase 1 complete. What's phase 2? Making sure everyone knows what she did. I spent Saturday afternoon at the local coffee shop, the one where all the neighborhood gossips congregated. I sat at a table near the window with my laptop open, pretending to work. Mrs. Lunt came in at 2:15 p.m., right on schedule. She always got her afternoon latte at 2:15. I waited until she was in line, then I pulled out my phone and made a call. Loud enough to be overheard, but not so loud that it seemed intentional. Hey, Patricia. Yeah, I got all her stuff moved out. No, she doesn't know yet. She's in Cancun with her boyfriend. Yeah, Drew Morrison. They've been seeing each other for months. I know, right? My high school bully. Anyway, the locks are changed, accounts are separated. She'll figure it out when she tries to come home. Thanks. I'll see you Monday. I hung up and went back to my laptop. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Mrs. Lunt's head swivel toward me like a radar dish locking onto a target. Mission accomplished. By Sunday evening, my phone was blowing up with messages from mutual friends and neighbors. Everyone suddenly very concerned about my well-being, everyone wanting the gossip. I responded to each one with carefully crafted messages that confirmed the basics without seeming vindictive. Yes, Erica and I were separating. Yes, she'd been seeing someone else. No, I didn't want to talk about it in detail. I just needed support during this difficult time. The sympathy poured in. The outrage on my behalf was gratifying, and most importantly, the narrative was set. I was the wronged party. Erica was the cheater. Drew was the homewrecker. By the time Erica's plane landed on Friday, the entire neighborhood would know what she'd done. Erica's flight was scheduled to land at 3 p.m. on Friday. I knew because I'd checked her itinerary on the tablet before she left. I also knew that Drew had been on the same flight, sitting in first class 3 rows ahead of her. They'd been careful not to book together, but not careful enough. I was at the gym when she tried to come home. Ray and I were working the speed bag when my phone started ringing. Erica's face flashed on the screen. A photo from 3 years ago, back when she still smiled at me. I let it ring. It rang again and again. Then the texts started coming in. Why won't you answer? Nick, I'm home. The key doesn't work. Did you change the locks? This isn't funny. Let me in. Nick. I finished my workout, showered, and drove home slowly, taking my time. Let her stew. When I pulled into the driveway at 5:30, Erica was sitting on the front steps, suitcase beside her, phone in hand. She looked sunburned and exhausted and furious. What the hell, Nick? She stood up as I got out of the truck. Why did you change the locks? Oh, right. Sorry about that. I pulled out my keys and walked past her to the front door. There was a break-in scare in the neighborhood. Mrs. Lunt suggested everyone upgrade their security. That doesn't explain why you didn't give me a key. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, blocking her path. Actually, I think we need to talk before you come in. Her eyes narrowed. Talk about what? About Drew, about Cancun, about the last 6 months. The color drained from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because I have about 300 text messages that say otherwise. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots. Plus hotel receipts, plus photos, plus a really interesting conversation I overheard last week where you called me burden. She stared at the phone, then at me. You went through my messages? That's what you're upset about? Not the cheating, not the lying, but the fact that I found out? Nick, I can explain. I don't want explanations. I want you to understand that this marriage is over. Your stuff is in storage. Unit 247 at Public Storage on Elm Street. Here's the key. I held out a small key. You're not living here anymore. You can't do this! Her voice rose to a shout. This is my house too! Actually, it's not. The deed is in my name. I bought it before we were married. My lawyer confirmed I have every right to ask you to leave. Your lawyer? She looked genuinely shocked. You got a lawyer? You were planning to leave anyway, right? I just expedited the process. Across the street, Mrs. Lunt's curtains twitched. Perfect. Erica saw it too. She lowered her voice, trying to regain control. Nick, please, can we talk about this inside? Like adults? We are talking like adults. I'm calmly explaining that you need to find somewhere else to stay. I suggest Drew's place, since you've been spending so much time there anyway. How dare you? How dare I? I laughed, and it came out bitter. You've been sleeping with my high school bully for 6 months. You've been lying to me, to our daughter, to everyone. You took my trust and you destroyed it. So yeah, Erica, I dare. She tried a different approach. Tears welled up in her eyes. I made a mistake. I was confused. Work has been so stressful, and Drew was just there, and it didn't mean anything. 6 months doesn't mean anything? 300 text messages don't mean anything? Planning a future together doesn't mean anything? The tears dried up instantly. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. A car pulled up behind us. Drew's BMW, the word homewrecker, still faintly visible on the hood where he'd tried to buff it out. He got out, looking uncertain. Erica, everything okay? I turned to him. Hey, Drew, good to see you again. How was Cancun? He had the decency to look uncomfortable. Look, man, I don't want any trouble. No trouble at all. In fact, I'm glad you're here. Erica needs a place to stay. I assume you have room? Drew looked at Erica. Erica looked at me. Nobody said anything. Or not, I continued. I hear the Riverside Hotel has great weekly rates. You two should be familiar with it. You're an asshole, Erica hissed. And you're a cheater. I guess we're both learning new things about each other. I stepped back inside and started to close the door. Erica put her hand out to stop it. What about Liv? That stopped me. What about her? She's my daughter, too. I have rights. You should have thought about that before you decided to blow up her family. But don't worry, I'm not keeping her from you. She can visit whenever she wants. She just can't live here with you, because you don't live here anymore. She'll hate you for this. Maybe, but at least I'll be able to look her in the eye and tell her I didn't cheat on her mother. I closed the door and locked it. Through the window, I watched Erica stand there for a long moment, Drew hovering uncertainly behind her. Finally, she grabbed her suitcase and stormed to his car. They drove away. Mrs. Lunt was on her phone before they'd even turned the corner. The weekend was brutal. Not for me, for Erica. By Saturday morning, the entire neighborhood knew what had happened. Mrs. Lunt had done her job beautifully, spreading the story with just enough outrage and sympathy to make it clear who the villain was. My phone exploded with messages of support. Erica's social media went dark. Liv came home Sunday afternoon. I'd texted her Friday night to give her a heads up, keeping it simple. Your mom and I are separating. She's staying somewhere else for now. We both love you. This isn't your fault. She walked in without knocking. She still had her key, and found me in the kitchen, making dinner. Dad? Hey, kiddo, you hungry? She dropped her backpack and stared at me. What the hell happened? I'd been dreading this conversation. How do you tell your daughter that her mother is a cheater without destroying her relationship with her mom? Your mom and I have been having problems. I started carefully. We decided it would be better to live separately for a while. That's not what everyone's saying. What are they saying? That mom cheated on you with Drew Morrison, that you kicked her out and changed the locks, that you're getting divorced. I turned off the stove and faced her. It's complicated. That's not an answer. She was right. She was 16, not 6. She deserved the truth. Your mom has been seeing Drew for about 6 months. I found out last week I asked her to move out. We're probably getting divorced. I'm sorry. Liv's face went through several emotions: shock, anger, hurt, and finally something harder. She really cheated? Yes. With Drew Morrison, the guy from your high school? Yes. That's so messed up. She sat down heavily at the kitchen table. Where is she staying? I don't know. With Drew, maybe. Or a hotel. She has her phone if you want to call her. I don't want to call her. Her voice was sharp. I can't believe she did this. To you. To us. Liv. No, Dad. This is bullshit. She's always going on about responsibility and honesty and being a good person, and then she does this? I sat down across from her. Your mom made a mistake. A big one. But she's still your mom. You don't have to choose sides. You're defending her? I'm trying to make sure you don't lose both parents over this. Liv looked at me for a long moment. Then she got up, came around the table, and hugged me. It was the first time she'd voluntarily hugged me in months. I'm on your side, she whispered. You don't have to be on anyone's side. Too late. We ordered pizza and watched movies until midnight. It felt like when she was little, before everything got complicated. Before her mom decided I was dead weight. Monday morning, I met with Patricia Chen to discuss next steps. She was a sharp woman in her 50s, with gray hair cut short and eyes that missed nothing. You've done well so far, she said, reviewing my documentation. Clean separation of assets, clear evidence of infidelity, no violent confrontations. This should be straightforward. What about custody? Liv is 16. The court will take her preferences into account. If she wants to live with you and you can provide a stable home, that shouldn't be a problem. And the house? It's yours. Purchased before marriage, deed in your name only. She has no claim to it. She's going to fight this. Patricia smiled. Let her. She's the one who cheated. She's the one who abandoned the marriage. The court won't look favorably on that. What about her job? She works in tech, makes good money. Will she have to pay me alimony? Possibly. Depends on the income disparity and length of marriage. But that's a conversation for later. We spent 2 hours going over strategy. By the time I left, I felt cautiously optimistic. This was going to work. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Nick Carter? A woman's voice, professional. Yes. This is Diane Foster from Tech Corp. I'm calling about your wife, Erica Carter. My stomach dropped. What about her? We've become aware of some workplace conduct issues, specifically a relationship with a coworker that violated our fraternization policy. I understand you're in possession of evidence regarding this relationship? I'd sent an anonymous email to TechCorp's HR department over the weekend. Just the basics. Erica Carter and Drew Morrison were having an affair. Here's proof. Thought you should know. I hadn't expected them to follow up so quickly. I might be, I said carefully. We'd like to conduct a formal investigation. Would you be willing to provide that evidence? What happens to Erica if I do? That depends on what the investigation finds. But violations of our fraternization policy can result in termination, especially for managers. Erica was a manager. Drew was her subordinate. Holy shit. I'll think about it, I said. Please do. We take workplace ethics very seriously. She hung up. I sat in my truck in the parking lot, staring at my phone. This was bigger than I'd thought. If Erica got fired, she'd lose her income, her career, her reputation. It would destroy her. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt like I was going too far. I didn't. I forwarded all the evidence to Diane Foster and drove to the gym. The call from Liv came at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. Dad? Her voice was shaky. Can you come get me? I was awake instantly. Where are you? Mom's hotel, the Riverside. She and Drew got in a huge fight and I don't want to be here. I'm on my way. I threw on clothes and drove downtown faster than I should have. The Riverside Hotel looked different at 2 a.m., less boutique, more seedy. I found Liv sitting in the lobby, backpack at her feet, eyes red from crying. What happened? Mom's drunk. She's been drunk since Monday. She found out she got fired, and she's been spiraling. She and Drew were screaming at each other about whose fault it was, and she started throwing things, and I couldn't be there anymore. I hugged her. You did the right thing by calling me. She said it's your fault, that you ruined her life. Maybe I did. No. Liv pulled back, fierce. She ruined her own life. You just made sure everyone knew about it. We drove home in silence. Liv went straight to bed. I stayed up, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd gone too far. Thursday morning, Erica showed up at the house. I opened the door to find her looking worse than I'd ever seen her. No makeup, hair unwashed, eyes hollow. You got me fired, she said flatly. You got yourself fired. I just provided evidence. They're saying I engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, that I abused my position. My career is over, Nick. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with Drew. I lost everything. My job, my home, my daughter. Are you happy now? I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 18 years. This woman who'd called me burden and planned a future without me. No, I said honestly. I'm not happy, but I'm not sorry either. What do you want from me? You want me to beg? Fine, I'm begging. Please stop. Please, just stop. I'm not doing anything, Erica. I'm just living my life. You're the one who set all this in motion. By making one mistake? By making hundreds of mistakes over 6 months and thinking I'd never find out. By humiliating me. By bringing Drew Morrison into our marriage. By calling me burden. She flinched. You heard that? I heard everything. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But you're not entitled to destroy me and then play the victim when there are consequences. She stood there, swaying slightly, still drunk, probably. Or maybe just broken. I have nowhere to go, she whispered. You have Drew. Drew kicked me out. He said I was too much drama, that I was ruining his reputation. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of sympathy, but only a flicker. You can stay at the storage unit. There's a couch in there. You're joking. I'm not. Or you can call your mother, or your sister, or Megan. You have options, Erica. They're just not good options. I hate you. I know. She left. I watched her walk down the driveway, shoulders slumped, defeated. Mrs. Lunt was watching too, phone in hand. The sympathy flickered out. That afternoon, I got a call from Megan. Nick, it's Megan. We need to talk. About? About what you're doing to Erica. This has gone too far. I almost laughed. Really? Megan, you drove her to the airport knowing she was going to Cancun with Drew. You helped her lie to me, and now you're calling to tell me I've gone too far? She made a mistake. Stop calling it a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This was a choice, hundreds of choices, and you enabled every single one. You're destroying her. She destroyed herself. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it. Megan was quiet for a moment. Then, you know what? You're not the nice guy everyone thinks you are. You're vindictive and cruel. Maybe, but at least I'm not a cheater. She hung up. Friday afternoon, I was at the hardware store when I ran into Drew. He was in the automotive section, looking at car wax, probably trying to buff out the rest of the homewrecker engraving. He saw me and froze. Nick. Drew. We stood there in the aisle, two guys who'd hated each other in high school, and now had a whole new reason to hate each other. Look, he said finally, I know you're pissed. I get it. But what you did to Erica, getting her fired, that was over the line. Was it? Because from where I'm standing, she violated company policy. I just made sure her employer knew about it. You ruined her career. She ruined her own career. Same way she ruined our marriage. I'm just the messenger. You're an asshole. And you're a homewrecker. Literally. It's carved into your car. His jaw clenched. You did that? Prove it. For a second, I thought he might actually take a swing at me. I almost wanted him to, but he just grabbed his car wax and walked away. I finished my shopping and went home. Saturday morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Nick Carter? A woman's voice, vaguely familiar. Yes? This is Megan. Don't hang up. I almost did, but curiosity got the better of me. What do you want? To tell you the truth, about Erica and Drew, about all of this. I already know the truth. No, you don't. You know what happened. You don't know why. I sat down. I'm listening. 5 years ago, Erica slept with my husband at a company party. She was drunk, he was drunk, and it happened. She confessed to me the next day, begged me to forgive her, and I did. Because that's what friends do, right? I said nothing. But I never forgot. And I never really forgave her. So when Drew started working at Tech Corp, when I saw how he looked at her, I encouraged it. I invited them both to happy hours. I covered for her when she was late. I drove her to the airport knowing exactly where she was going. You set her up. I gave her the rope. She hung herself. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know that Erica isn't the only villain in this story, and because I'm leaving town. My husband found out what I did. He's filing for divorce. The salon is going under. Everyone in town hates me now. She laughed bitterly. Turns out, when you spend your whole life manipulating people, they eventually figure it out. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't want you to say anything. I just wanted you to know the truth before I left. That Erica was set up. That I used you to get my revenge. That none of this would have happened if I'd just let go of a 5-year-old grudge. She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, processing this new information. Erica had been set up. Manipulated. Yes, she'd made the choice to cheat. But Megan had engineered the circumstances, created the opportunities, encouraged the affair. It didn't change what Erica had done, but it added context. I called Patricia Chen. I need to know something. If I wanted to ease up on Erica, not drop everything, but maybe not push for maximum damages. Could I do that? Of course, you're the client, but why would you want to? I told her about Megan's call. Patricia was quiet for a moment. That's interesting, but it doesn't change the fundamental facts. Erica still cheated, she still lied, she still violated company policy. I know, but maybe she's been punished enough. That's your call to make. I spent the rest of the day thinking. By evening, I'd made a decision. Sunday morning, I called Erica. What do you want? She sounded exhausted. To talk, in person. Can you come to the house? You're not going to ambush me again, are you? No ambush, I promise. She arrived an hour later, looking marginally better than the last time I'd seen her. She'd showered at least, changed clothes. We sat in the living room, the one I'd repainted, rearranged, made mine. Megan called me, I said. Erica's face went pale. What did she tell you? Everything, about your history, about how she set you up, about the revenge plot. She set me up. Erica's voice was hollow. All this time, I thought she was my friend. She was just waiting for the right moment to destroy me. She succeeded. With your help. With my help, I agreed. But I didn't know the full story, and now that I do, I'm willing to ease up. She looked at me suspiciously. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to push for alimony. I'm not going to fight you on custody. Liv can see you whenever she wants. I'm not going to drag this divorce out longer than necessary. I just want it done. Why? Because I'm tired. Because this whole thing has gotten out of hand. Because maybe you were manipulated. But you still made choices. And maybe I went too far in punishing you for those choices. Erica's eyes filled with tears. Real ones, this time. I'm sorry. For all of it. For cheating, for lying, for calling you dead weight. You didn't deserve any of that. No, I didn't. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Maybe someday, but not today. She nodded. That's fair. We talked for another hour, working out the basics of our separation. It was the most civil conversation we'd had in months, maybe years. When she left, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. 3 weeks later, the neighborhood held its annual fall block party. I almost didn't go. Block parties weren't really my thing, and after everything that had happened, I wasn't sure how people would react to me. But Liv insisted. Come on, Dad, you can't hide forever. Besides, Mrs. Lunt is already telling everyone you're going to be there. If you don't show up, she'll start rumors that you've had a nervous breakdown. She had a point, so I went. The party was held in the cul-de-sac, with tables set up in driveways and a grill smoking in the middle of the street. Kids ran around playing tag, adults clustered in groups, drinking beer and pretending the last month hadn't been the most dramatic thing to happen in this neighborhood since the Johnsons' divorce in 2015. I grabbed a beer and tried to blend in. Mrs. Lunt found me within 5 minutes. Nick, so glad you could make it. How are you holding up? I'm fine, Mrs. Lunt. Such a difficult time, but you've handled it with such grace, not like some people. She glanced meaningfully toward the end of the street, where Erica had just arrived with Liv. Erica looked better. She'd found a job, not in tech, but in marketing for a local firm. She'd found an apartment. She was rebuilding. We'd signed the divorce papers last week. It was almost over. She's doing well, I said neutrally. Mrs. Lunt looked disappointed by my lack of drama. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. She wandered off to find someone else to gossip with. I was contemplating a second beer when Drew showed up. He looked worse than Erica. His BMW was gone. Repossessed, I'd heard. He'd been fired from TechCorp too, blackballed in the industry. Last I'd heard, he was working retail. He saw me and hesitated. Then, surprisingly, he walked over. Nick. Drew. Can we talk? I shrugged. Sure. We walked to the edge of the party, away from the crowd. I wanted to apologize, he said. For everything. For high school, for Erica, for all of it. I was a dick to you then, and I was a dick to you now. You didn't deserve any of it. I studied him. He looked sincere, broken, but sincere. Why? I asked. Why what? Why did you go after Erica? You had to know she was married. You had to know I'd find out eventually. He shrugged helplessly. Because I could. Because she was there. Because some part of me still wanted to beat you at something, even 20 years later. It was stupid and selfish and wrong. Yeah, it was. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I needed to say it. I thought about holding on to the anger, about telling him to go to hell, about making him suffer a little more. But I was tired of being angry. Apology accepted, I said. He looked surprised. Really? Really? What you did was shitty, but holding on to this grudge isn't helping anyone. So yeah, apology accepted. He nodded, looking relieved. Thanks, man. He walked away. I watched him go, feeling lighter. Erica approached a few minutes later. Did Drew just apologize to you? He did. And you accepted? I did. She shook her head, smiling slightly. You're a better person than I am. I don't know about that. We stood there in comfortable silence, watching the party. Liv seems happy, Erica said. She is. She's been doing better now that things have calmed down. Thank you for not turning her against me. She's your daughter. I wouldn't do that. Erica looked at me. I really am sorry, Nick, for all of it. I know, and I'm sorry too, for some of it. She laughed. Only some of it? Some of it was deserved. Fair enough. Mrs. Lunt's voice rang out across the party. Attention, everyone! Time for the annual block party speech. Every year, someone gave a speech about community and togetherness. Usually it was the HOA president. This year, apparently, it was Mrs. Lunt. She climbed onto a folding chair, wobbling slightly, and raised her plastic cup of wine. I just want to say, she began, already slurring a bit, that this year has been very educational for all of us. We've learned about loyalty. She looked at Erica. About honesty. She looked at Drew. And about revenge. She looked at me and winked. Oh no. We've learned that secrets always come out, that cheaters never prosper, and that sometimes the quiet ones are the ones you need to watch out for. People were starting to look uncomfortable. Liv was hiding her face in her hands. But most importantly, Mrs. Lunt continued, raising her cup higher, we've learned that Nick Carter is not someone you want to cross, because he will destroy you, legally, methodically, and with style. She started to applaud herself, lost her balance, and fell off the chair. The party erupted in chaos. People rushed to help her. Someone called an ambulance. Mrs. Lunt kept insisting she was fine while bleeding from a cut on her forehead. Erica looked at me. I looked at her. And then, for the first time in months, we both started laughing. Real, genuine laughter. She's not wrong, Erica said between laughs. You did destroy me. Legally, methodically, and with style. You destroyed yourself. I just documented it. Semantics. The ambulance arrived. Mrs. Lunt was loaded onto a stretcher, still protesting. The party began to break up. Liv came over, shaking her head. That was the most embarrassing thing I've ever witnessed. Welcome to the neighborhood, I said. She groaned. Can we go home now? Yeah, let's go home. Erica gave Liv a hug. I'll see you Tuesday for dinner? Yeah, Mom. See you Tuesday. Liv and I walked back to our house. The party continued behind us, but quieter now, more subdued. Dad? Liv said as we reached the front door. Yeah? Are you happy? Like, really happy? I thought about it. About the divorce, the revenge, the destruction I'd caused, about Erica's affair, her betrayal, her lies, about Drew's apology and Megan's confession, about Mrs. Lunt's drunken speech and the neighborhood gossip. Yeah, I said. I think I am. Good. You deserve to be happy. We went inside. I locked the door behind us. New locks, new beginning. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Congratulations on your divorce. You played the game well. Patricia Chen. I smiled and deleted the message. The game was over. I'd won. But more importantly, I'd survived. And sometimes, that's all you can ask for.